Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Cobert, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about the recent release of San Francisco 49ers linebacker Navorro Bowman. And if you're new to the channel, what I normally do with videos like this when it comes to analytics videos is I try to give you all the facts about a player from the past, present, and future. You know, just to give you an idea about what this player possibly could become coming out of college. You know, what was his data coming out of college, to kind of give you an idea of the type of career arc this player should have. Also giving you some data about NFL production, just giving you a look about how productive he was during his heights and stuff like that. And then I'll end with basically some data on age-related data, because then a lot of people are going, oh, Navorro Bowman's only 29 years old, but the data actually shows that 29 is actually a little bit over the hill for a lot of linebackers based on the data. So all terms and definitions will be in the description, because I know a lot of you guys who may be new to the channel or new to what I do may not know all the things that I'm talking about, but all of that stuff will be in there. And let's start with Bowman. So to get an idea of the type of linebacker that Bowman was coming out of college, he had a 91.27 solo tackle market share production score. Based on all my data since the 1996 NFL draft class, 100% of multiple All-Pro linebackers, pursuit linebackers, you know, guys like Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Luke Kuechly, etc., had at least a 90 or higher solo tackle market share production score. So from the get-go, Bowman has all-pro potential based on his production, and he's ended up being a all-pro linebacker. You know, he's gone to multiple all-pro, he's gotten multiple all-pro nods during his career. So, you know, from that perspective, he's already kind of fulfilled what his data said he was going to be coming out of college at Penn State. Then when you look at his athleticism data, he had an 83.15 explosive lower body strength score, 77.91 speed score, and 77.27 flexibility score. Based on all of his athleticism testing as well, and he actually set a lot of these athleticism testings, kind of benchmark thresholds, if you will. He pretty much hit every single score you want in terms of an all-pro player, and was a little bit better than the bottom end for speed. So he pretty much had the bare minimum athleticism for a multiple all-pro linebacker, and again, he ended up being a multiple all-pro linebacker. So again, in many ways, Bowman is kind of a big part of establishing a lot of the thresholds that I create and make because of this type of guy. Again, coming out of college, he was a great athlete. I know that for whatever reason, if I remember correctly, there was a lot of reports out of the combine, etc., that he wasn't a great athlete, but based on all the data that I've done, his athleticism was fine. I just think there's a bit of a misconception about athleticism, you know, when it comes to any position, really. Then, of course, when you look at his NFL production, so this is his NFL production, which takes into account solo tackle market share, sack market share, interception market share, and pass deflection market share for him when he was on the San Francisco 49ers from 2010 to 2017. I did not include 2014 because there just wasn't enough data. I believe he was injured that year. But when you look at all that information in terms of total impact score, which the total impact score basically takes into account all those different data points, he has always been a 80 to 90 plus percentile overall impact linebacker throughout most of his career, and he had a stretch from 2011 to 2015 where he had 98 to 99 percentile solo tackle market share, which is always a great sign of a great pursuit linebacker. You know, pursuit linebackers that are great end up being extremely impactful when it comes to pursuit, when it comes to solo tackles. You know, like, it's in the name, pursuit linebacker. You're trying to pursue the ball carrier, and if you're very good at it, you're typically getting to the ball carrier consistently, or any type of thing consistently, and tackling. And he's always been that, at least for the peak of his career. But you can clearly see a bit of a decline, you know, from 2016, which was definitely a year where I believe he had multiple injuries that kind of held him back a bit. His production declined to about 50%, 54.94 in terms of total impact. And when I gathered his data for 2017, he was only able to muster a 75.55 solo tackle market share impact score And he had a generally good total impact score, but a lot of that was just because of his pass deflection market share. He only had one pass deflection this year, but based on being on the 49ers, that was at least above average what most linebackers do. Again, this is based on what the majority of linebackers do, overcompassing many different teams. So when it comes to the 49ers, he was a big impact when it comes to getting pass deflection. Even though he had one, he was still a fairly big impact compared to how other linebackers impact the game from that kind of perspective. But you can definitely see a clear decline, especially when it comes to solo tackle data when it comes to 2017. And this, of course, is supposedly a fully healthy or mostly healthy Navorro Bowman by most accounts. And the biggest thing I want to point out to you guys, and this is the kind of thing I want to lastly end with, is age impact for linebacker starters. So based on the data that I've collected from the 2005 NFL season to the 2016 NFL season, this is the number of above average impact linebacker starters, pursuit linebacker starters, in terms of, the total number of average impact linebackers. So essentially it just tells you, what age are there most? Like, what age do most linebackers have high impact, essentially? And how many high impact players are usually a certain age. And you can clearly see that Bowman is on the decline. Most linebackers peak when it comes to being an above average linebacker. Most linebackers typically peak between age 23 to age 27, and then you have a gradual decline into age 28, 29. As you can see, you go from having about 96. Basically there's been 96 above average 27-year-old above average impact years at 27. There's been 96 of those, but then you get into 28 where you only have 70, 29 only 65, 30 42, 31 40, and then as you can see it just slowly declines until there's basically no more above average impact seasons. So in Bowman's case, based on all the data, it just kind of mirrors this, because if you go back and you look at his data, had his peak, his peak basically was from age 23 to age 27, and then started to decline. And a lot of decline has to do with injuries. You start to get injured, the injuries don't heal properly. It's very rare. I mean, as you can see in the data, it's very rare for a linebacker to keep playing in their 30s. I mean, it's just rare, and it gets even more rare as they get older. So from that kind of perspective, this is the only major concern with Navorro Bowman, is that so far this year, I mean, this is what I'm trying to give you, is that, in the past, great player. From college at Penn State, he had indicators of a multiple All-Pro linebacker, athleticism of a multiple All-Pro linebacker, and he ended up being a multiple All-Pro linebacker. And you can clearly see, based on data, that in the past, he was a high-impact linebacker. He had seasons where he was putting in extremely above-average solo tackle data, especially. But what is he right now? What is Navorro Bowman right now, and what is his future going to look like? That doesn't look as good. You have to separate what a player was to what they are right now. And what Navorro Bowman is right now is definitely above a above average impact linebacker. I mean, there's no question about it. Even though 2016 was kind of a down year for him, he still was about above average impact for most linebackers. 2017, he's been above average as well in terms of impact, but he hasn't exactly been elite. I think the days of Bowman putting in 90-plus percentile impact seasons, if you just look at the numbers, I don't think that that's going to be the case with him. But I think if you sign Bowman with the sense that, okay, I want a starter, I want a guy, to have some impact, I think you could expect that. But if you sign Bowman with the expectation that he's going to get back to his All-Pro form, I just don't think so, because of the gradual decline, because he mirrors so much of the normal decline of most linebackers when it comes to his data, in terms of, he's starting to break down when it comes to staying consistent in age 28, 29, I think that speaks largely about what he could look like at age 30, 31, and then of course from there on. So there just isn't a lot of data showing that Bowman can be a longevity-like linebacker, and maybe he might prove me wrong. I mean, there's tons of players that kind of buck the trend when it comes to data, but as of right now, I would just say Bowman is one of those types of players that you should be a little bit cautious of because of this. And if you're a 49ers fan, again, as much as Bowman was an amazing linebacker in the past, he just is not that type of guy now. And ultimately, that's just how you have to look at it. So that was the analytics profile of Navorro Bowman. Of course, you can find my other work at draftcobra.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.